terms of aid, in terms of microfinance, in terms of social entrepreneurship. So the challenge is the distance. It is the cultural distance, the emotional distance, the income distance, which often does not allow us to connect. We feel we understand the people who are challenged economically. We feel that we have the answers, they will get the solutions from us. But that spirit obviously creates the distance, because often what happens is the solution that I go with and the solution that he or she needs often do not make it happen. So my first point today is we have to inverse the pyramid. As soon as you invert the pyramid, the world starts looking very different. We say that, look, the top of the pyramid is the base of the pyramid. And the base of the pyramid, which is where you can conduct millions of experiments with people who are not infected by the 19th and 20th century economic models, which are obviously not sustainable because we know we are running out of hydrocarbons, we're running out of metals. Even when Eric would talk about batteries, we do not have the materials to support the batteries. As you know, China today controls 98% of the most rare materials. So obviously we need a model where we could plant new type of experiments, and that's why the first point I'd like to make is let's inverse the pyramid. The second point is, as we inverse the pyramid, how do we create the future Andrew Carnegie's, Thomas Edison's, at the base of the pyramid, base reversed, where we bring to play three fundamental forces. Not only microfinance, but micro-mentoring or micro-volunteering, which each one of us are right now doing. Jerry is right that we're giving up your Saturday afternoon, but why not? When 4 million people out there are waiting to do something better. That's micro-volunteering to me, and then of course, micro-venturing and microfinancing. These three together what I'm calling micro-movements. So microfinance alone doesn't help, it's important. Micro-venturing, we have to plant the ideas, and then of course we need people like you and I spending perhaps 10 or 20% of our time, which I'm calling micro-volunteering. And that's what, by the way, Boston Craig has been doing. This is one of the workshops, and this old gentleman is the person who raised that question in a village. Now, when he raised the question, the thought that came into my mind, and that's where perhaps all of us will play the role. When you or any one of you are organizing a workshop, like Eric would be going to Kharagpur, and I will like Eric to organize a workshop there. We have done workshops there. Now let Eric, you'll see how brilliant speaker he is. When he's doing the workshop, why should we be able to play the workshop in another 50,000 places in the world? When I was talking to Jeff Sachs yesterday, he's not here as you can see, he said, Partha, to celebrate the spirit, let me continue with my work in Africa, but I'll be here with you. And you will see he's here. So I think we have to bring those kind of possibilities into play so that we can indeed connect the people at the base of the pyramid with the people at the top with ideas and the desire to become micro-volunteers. So this is the model that we do. That's what we are trying to do at the Boston Pledge, bringing together different kind of micro-initiatives into play by offering a certain amount of time. And in the process it becomes like me playing the guitar, you playing the drum, and we end up creating the symphony. And that's what is happening. That's what we do at Boston Pledge, and my colleagues will be talking about it in the panel number 2. So this is how we see the challenge of the Boston Pledge. One is that people who are around $1 a day, there I think you really need to create social engineering. You know, people often use business at the bottom of the pyramid. It really doesn't make sense to me, because you can only do business when people have got dollars and cents in their pocket. And what many of the companies have done, for example, in the toiletry business, they've come up with micro-packaging. But if you really look at it very carefully, on a dollars per gram basis, you're making more money out of that poor person than you make someone from Hollywood or Bollywood or different roots that we live in. Similarly, if you look at microfinance, particularly when you take a capitalistic approach to microfinance, you give out the money at 30% rate to that poor person who is paying 30% versus perhaps Bill Gates gets the money for 2.5%. Is that what we are looking for? So I think we need a little bit of a different approach in that group, which I'm calling how to create a spirit of engineering where they could develop their own solutions to problems and in the process create an economic firm. But as you go up to $1.50, which is the other 20%, there perhaps we can start introducing interesting technologies. And that's where you and I have a role to play. Could we create clearinghouses of technologies and bring them towards what I would call the people at the bottom of the pyramid? And this is the model that we see, and Boston Bridge is right now in the process of creating this model, that there are micro ventures. We are in the process of talking to various companies where we'll create this technology clearinghouse so that together with the banks, we can create a dynamic at the base of the pyramid. Now, mind you, everyone in the Boston Pledge is a volunteer, so we are celebrating the concept of micro-volunteering, but with an idea of creating models which will create the connectivity between people at the top of the pyramid with the people at the base of the pyramid. So, why we are talking about pay it forward? Now, Andrew Carnegie, as you know, I don't know how many of you read that famous write-up, The Gospel of Wealth. How many of you read The Gospel of Wealth? It's a brilliant piece. I think much of the reason America has done well is because of what Andrew Carnegie wrote in The Gospel of Wealth. And his message was very simple. He said that, look, few of us are very lucky where wealth accumulates around us. It comes from society. As it accumulates, it is our moral obligation and duty to give the money back to society. And as you know, Andrew Carnegie did all kinds of things, creating libraries, Carnegie Foundation, Carnegie University, and so on and so forth. But definitely he planted the spirit which led to development of many universities around the country. Now, we need that, but I think time has come that not to wait to become rich. If we are confident about ourselves, and when you are young, we can think of the future wealth curve. And the question is, how could I pay it forward? And I don't know how many of you have seen the movie, Pay It Forward. It's a very touching movie. The kid of 8 years old or 10 years old could come out and start thinking of changing the world. Why shouldn't we? We don't have to wait to become Bill Gates. He's doing a tremendous job. But we could still give our skills, our will, and perhaps $1 a day to make a big difference. Because many people, that $1 a day is a lot of money. So I see the problem is a problem of direct engagement. It's not a problem of 4 billion people starving. It is a problem of 2 to 8. How 2 individuals at the top could connect with 8 individuals, 1 to 4. If one of us could take care of 4 individuals, and that becomes part of our actual life, the way we breathe oxygen, then make it 3 to 7. And then we go up the curve, 2 to 3, which is 4 to 6. It's 4 people at the top engaging with 6 people, as we call the bottom, or I would like to prefer the word base. So I will end with this message that on one side we have tech companies, many of you represent technology companies, G7, and you will hear one of the most brilliant stories from Eric Geiler. And then there are international volunteers like yourself who want to volunteer your time. And in the process, I see there are 2 kinds of alliances evolving. One I would call alliances of services that you want to innovatively provide to the people of the base of the pyramid. And the second I would call the opportunities that you create by bottom-up enterprising are taking ideas at the bottom of the pyramid, not giving them ideas, taking their ideas and making them successful. So what we need at the end of the day, and I hope this conference will help to trigger that, we have brilliant speakers to trigger that, is what I would call the inner courage and the perspective, which hopefully will come together to create the new world that we see. With this, I'd like to thank you and once again welcome all of you to this great conference, the great speakers who would perhaps provide some of the solutions. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of framework, what is possible. And I'm very hopeful. I'm very, very optimistic about the future. But it would need a different lens. It would need a different level of courage. And it would need our ability to keep our egos out and the divine within to make the possibilities limitless. With that, I'd like to thank you very much. Back to our DC.